If you want to walk down memory lane and talk about the 12 quads of the month for 2019, then stick around. Hi there, it's Hélène, and I am looking to walk down memory lane. There are a lot of these types of videos coming in the next week or so as we are now into a new decade. And 2020 just feels like a big year, so it feels like you need to kind of clean up 2019 and get into 2020 with a bang, at least in my opinion. So I wanted to revisit Quad of the Month for 2019. And the reason I want to revisit it is it was my first time ever doing Quad of the Month. And I think that I learned a lot, and I want to remind myself of things to do and not do. And also, if you are contemplating pulling out of your collection and doing a Quad of the Month as well, I'm hoping that some of the suggestions and thoughts that I have would be of use to you. So I did do 12 quads, despite starting in March of 2019 and playing catch up pretty much until I think September or October. And then at that point I was starting at the beginning of the month as I was supposed to. But I'm glad I gave myself that challenge of doing 12 quads despite being well into the first quarter of the year, because it turned out great. And in retrospect, of course, 2020, pun intended, is always perfect when you're looking in the rear view mirror as opposed to ahead. So I thought I would do the quads by month and then give you kind of my couple of favorites and a couple of more challenging quads at the very end, kind of as a wrap up. So let's go right in with quad number 1. I will admit that quad number 1, and I said it at the time, was kind of a gimme. And it was 4 colors from the Dare to Create 39A, which I was very happy with. I had just received it not that long before. And the colors are Pine, So Glam, Spark, and Vivid. And I was really happy with the selection because 2 shimmers and 2 mattes seemed to be the perfect weighting. And also 2 that were more in the greenish gold and 2 that were more in the peachy orange. I really enjoyed this quad, and I wanted to make sure that my first month was quite successful, and this color selection definitely made it easy, and they were all colors that are no-brainers to me, and I really enjoyed what the mattes were able to do. All of the looks, in my opinion, turned out fine. It was, like I said in the video when I first filmed it, it was a little bit of a gimme. I wanted a quad that was going to be reasonable. And then I fell off the deep end in my second quad of the month with very different colors. I went way out of my comfort zone and did a virtually all blue palette. And to my delight, it turned out way better than I thought. And the blue, I ended up really enjoying this blue and really enjoying this deep matte blue. Way more than I ever thought, and if anything, the brown ended up sort of being the dud in this one when it came to looks. So I ended up using, indigo I really enjoyed, and this one, which is, I can't read, Dare Me, Dare Me, and Slice I didn't care for all that much. I ended up doing a couple of really nice looks with these 2, and my all blue smoky look, I still can picture it in my mind. I would never have attempted if I didn't give myself this challenge of using mostly blues. I am not a blue eyeshadow kind of gal, despite what I have on my eyes today. And this really changed my mind. I have a lot less trouble using a shiny blue or a matte blue as the base for a look. And so I'm very thankful for my bravado in trying this quad. So I went from safe to outlandish. Now this next quad, quad number 3, is a quad that I ended up really not liking very much. And so this was officially March, but I must have been in end of April, early May at this point. I really appreciated that there was a black, but I didn't know how to use a black as effectively as I do now. It was always a color that was alarming to me. I have made peace with black and I like it now. And so this is called Muse from the Dare to Create. I have a fluff on my face. Okay. And then we have Create down here, Stroke, and Snatched down here. I really, really do not like this color. I don't. It's tacky and it's weird. And it never worked really nicely for me. And it was a real pain to have in this quad. I was not a huge fan of this one either. It was meh. So really, to me, the only two colors out of this quad that I'm okay with are these two. This one in the crease, this one in the crease, but then I had to use these colors, and every single time I used this one, it turned out just weird, and this one was blah. So I'm going to say that this quad was a real letdown, and I think that after my blue quad, I think I got a little cocky, and I thought I can work with anything. Well, this one proved to me that I should push the edge, but still really consider, okay, well, how am I going to use this? So yeah, the third one was not so great and made me wonder if I made a mistake doing quad of the month, actually. But Snatched, I probably should declutter Snatched because it just does nothing for me. Okay, so I got a little bit burnt by quad number 3, so I went for a really nice, safe quad number 4 because I had to recover. And this is quad number 4. And I really enjoyed this quad. Bronze Chrome was a really neat, deep, chocolatey brown. I really enjoyed Artistic. That was my favorite color of the bunch. Really great color. And then I enjoyed the 2 mattes. So again, 2 shimmers, 2 mattes. Cut Crease was okay, and I think I like Deep Hue more though. It just went better with the other 2 colors, and so I didn't end up enjoying this one as much as I enjoyed the other ones, but definitely had a great time with Artistic. It was a no-brainer for an eye look, and it's very, very flattering. But I was happy to have this quad number 4 because like I said, I really needed to recover from a tough quad with the blues, and then I think probably the worst quad of the year was the third quad. So this was kind of nice to get 2 very wearable colors where I could kind of recover. And then I came to quad number 5, and this one was a lot of fun, and it's very dusty, which means it's well loved. And I felt like I could do some really interesting things with it. And so we've got Fickle, sounds like pickle, Inspire, another one from Annabelle, and Trendy. And really this one was kind of a dud. It didn't perform well, and I think I'm going to get rid of this one as well. It's very lackluster, very powdery, just didn't build up very nicely. But I enjoyed the other colors. So I focused more on these in the quad as far as what I was going to do with it. I found this color to be just kind of an interesting change from the other quads that I had done before. So, and I think that I put this burgundy in because I had enjoyed, what's it called? Create this color. Oh, come on. Open the quad, Hélène. I had wanted to play more with this kind of color, nice bright fuchsia, and I felt like this one down here, even though Trendy, I think, yeah, Trendy, it's more of a burgundy purple, that the fuchsia I was still getting that feel of a purple to do stuff with. So I really enjoyed this combination, but like I said, I think that this one will have to go. Maybe this quad of the month is a good way of decluttering some of my singles, because focusing on just 4 shadows really makes you think about using given shadows and what you do and don't like. So I think that's a good thing. Now this one, quad number 6, is a little weird. I have one missing because I used it again. So this one is chromatic, or was chromatic, vibrant, frame, and Annabelle. And if I'm not mistaken, this one was a bronzy shimmer color from the Dare to Create. And I did use this one, and I actually found that this combination worked. But this was still kind of staying in my comfort zone with the shimmery brownish bronze and the two very neutral mattes. I do like the effect of a light blue with a brown and a light blue with a rust, and I did play around with that, but it was definitely not a memorable quad for me, and I used it because I committed to it, but meh, it was just okay. Okay, quad number 7. I call this one my blue jeans quad because that's what it makes me think of, because of these colors, really. And we have Mass. This is another Annabelle shadow, which is kind of a light pink. This one is Cobalt Blue from the 39A, and another Annabelle shadow down here. And I thought that it was fine. I felt like I could do a cool toned look and a warmer toned look with these colors, and this one on the inner lid if I wanted to just brighten up a look. It was very plain Jane, a good kind of a comfortable quad, but it's not a quad that left any sort of impression with me. It was just a set of very wearable shadows, and yeah, I didn't find it super flattering on the eye, didn't find it super striking. It was all in all a pretty boring quad, but if somebody wants a day-to-day quad to do a fair number of looks, I would say it's fine. I mean, you could do just a wash of this on the lid if you wanted and be done, or a smoky blue, a smoky matte, kind of a grayish brown, just a suede look on the lid. I mean, there's a lot that could be done with it, but each one of the looks is going to look appropriate, but probably nothing to write home about. So yeah, not a favorite by any means. It was okay. It was okay, and in a way, when you're doing quad of the month, if you ever want to do this type of a challenge, you need recovery quads. So this might have been a recovery quad more than anything else. And I think that when I really felt like a quad didn't push me enough, I'd go for a really edgy quad the next month, or if I went for a quad that really ended up feeling like a fight, I would go for an easy quad the next month. So that the quad I selected the next month was very much influenced by my feelings toward the quad that I was currently working on. It just the way it happened. So that's a learning point for me for sure. And I also like the fact that I didn't set up my 12 quads right off the hop because of being able to respond to those feelings and adjust accordingly. Now this next quad is kind of interesting, quad number 8. I really liked the color selection and started off kind of going, what have I done because of this color? But I ended up kind of really liking it in the end. I found that there was a lot that I could do with it, and it was a challenging quad because I only had one matte and I went with 3 shimmers. And it ended up working out okay. I was able to use these 2, I was able to use these 2, I used these 3 in a look, and I think I might have done these 2, I can't remember. But I ended up making it a friend and really enjoying the amount of burgundy reddish looks that I could do. And with green eyes, this is a no-brainer combination. It was just, I think because of this color, it just took me a while to warm up to it a little bit. Oh, and by the way, the name of this color is Color, and I thought that was really funny. And that's from the 39A as well. All of these are, actually. Hang in there. 8 done, 4 more to go. This is quad number 9. And I really, really enjoyed this quad. It had, despite the fact that it had 3 shimmers and 1 matte, but it was the selection that I made where I had that anchor color and I could just pair it with the other colors as I wanted. And because I had a very light shimmer, I could definitely pair these as well. It ended up being a colorful quad, especially because of this color right here. But it was a pretty wearable color, quad. And it had some really neat colors. I really enjoyed using a couple of neutrals, very neutrals, paired with some very wearable colors because of the full set of 4 shadows. It was a nice one to work with. And I'm just bringing the other quad back out just to show you. I felt like color, I was emboldened with this one because of the fact that I had used a green to very nice effect the previous month, that I was not intimidated anymore by adding one of these kind of shimmery greens. So I was pretty happy to have done that. And this one is Diva, and this one is Royalty. And these were all, except for, no, these are all from the Jaclyn Hill and Morphe palette. And I just decided that there were some of those colorful eyeshadows in the Jaclyn Hill palette that I wanted to use. And I guess this other quad made me think of that little section in her palette that has more colorful shadows. So it was a fun one to use, and I was really impressed by the royal color. It's a very flattering color on the eye. So yeah, I ended up really, really liking this one. Okay, quad number 10 is one of those blue-brown quads I did not like. I thought I would do okay with this one, but I ended up not liking the color combination and waiting and waiting and waiting before using it. And yeah, I just didn't really, really like it. And I think this is an Annabelle shadow, but I have a question mark on it. This is Taylor from 39A, and we have the M240 from Makeup Forever, and Expression from the 39A. I didn't really care for it. I ended up thinking this matte was okay. I had to try it out a couple times to get more comfortable with it, and that's that Makeup Forever matte. But I wasn't excited by this quad at all, and I just wanted to wait till the end of the month to be able to switch it out. I mean, I did some looks, of course, reported back, of course, but I just wasn't super excited about it. If anything, I was excited when I made a look that worked out, but the colors were not exciting to me. Okay, no, I remember the whole thing looking now at quad number 11. I was upset about my color choice because it was October. And I picked these colors for October instead of autumnal colors, and it bothered me the whole month. And I waited pretty much till the end of the month to start using this one. And yeah, so I think I wasn't inspired by the colors, and I was frustrated because I made a mistake. It's all coming back to me. Okay, so this one is how I fixed it. And I went back to the Jaclyn Hill palette and picked 3 colors, a lot of mattes. I only have one that has some shimmer in it, but it is, for all intents and purposes, also a matte. So I have Enchanted, Hunts, Creamsicle, which I ended up really liking, and Exposed from the 39A. I was surprised at how much I like this one, and delighted with what this transfers to, or transfers like, on the eye. Really, really enjoyed it. It gave me definite feels of the Subculture palette, which makes me happy anytime I have this kind of color story. And I really, really enjoyed playing with mostly mattes and I'm going to call this one a matte because it really has shimmer only for blending purposes. Just really, really neat color combination, and one that warmed my heart, pardon the pun, and really made up for the previous quad. And this final quad, we can call the pang of guilt, because I felt like I hadn't used my indie brands enough throughout the year. And as I gathered more singles from indie brands, I somehow wasn't putting them in the rotation for Quad of the Month, and I'm not quite sure why. So I'm more than made up for it, at least for Clionadh, by having an all Clionadh quad in this last month of 2019. I have 1 matte and 3 shimmers or duochromes, and I'm really happy about that. Climate Change is pretty much 1 color. Just a very nice, shiny, kind of yellow to lime green. It's beautiful. And then a duochrome right here called Prophecy, which is very, very nice. It makes me think a little bit of Sissy from Jaclyn Hill palette, but better. Definitely better. This is Fog, which I'm wearing on my eyes today, as well as Inkwell. So this is my color combo. And for this quad, I just used the 2 shadows, one either shimmer or duochrome and the Inkwell black. So yeah, that was my last one, and it was basically, yeah, to make up for the fact that I wasn't using very many independent brands. I had the Annabelle brand show up. That's pretty much it, apart from Clionadh. And I'm going to definitely fix that this coming year. I already have Luxie Beauty planned. I'm definitely going to be using Color Drain. I'm definitely going to be using Juvia's Place. And you saw me, if you haven't seen my depotting, I'm going to put the playlist right here. I have been depotting a lot in 2019, and that was in part for me to be able to use some indie brands in Quad of the Month. So you'll see a bigger mix of sources of singles for input into these quads. And I think you'll find that my first quad of 2020 reflects that fact. So I'm very excited for this coming year. A lot more variety, a lot more different textures, and a plethora of options every single time I'm ready to reveal another quad. So I'm picking 3 quads. I'm going to say quad number 2 was a favorite because it was so outside my comfort zone, and I ended up doing some beautiful, beautiful blue looks, which were way, way outside what I would normally do, and it reinforced the benefits of doing Quad of the Month. Really happy with this quad, and it's very memorable to me. The next quad that I'm super happy I did was thanks to the previous quad that was such a success with similar colors, and that is the Jaclyn Hill quad that I made from her collaboration with Morphe, the big white palette. And all of them, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, all of them come from that palette. And I really, really enjoyed all of them and all the looks I created. And finally, this palette, not only is it because I love all the colors, but I gave myself permission to really listen to what I wanted and to follow it. And I ended up doing some fantastic looks with this palette and being super, super happy that I chose it. And finally, one honorable mention, and that is for this latest quad, because I allowed myself to go full indie and to promise myself that based on this quad, that I would do a lot more indie and different brands in the Quad of the Month for 2020. And my 3 worst quads, and maybe this one is not fair because it's really just because of Snatched, but this is definitely one of my least loved quads because the two looks I came up with for Snatched were just awful, and that made me just despise this quad. So that's one of the 3. Although I have to say, I really love this one. I really, really do love Create. I think it looks beautiful. The other one I really disliked was this color combination with the blues and browns. It was just a terrible choice. I mean, I think the colors go together, but I really did not like what I was doing with it. And finally, and like I said, I have moved this one out, but this one is a similar thing. I don't think that powdery blues and lighter browns are a good match for me, and I'm probably going to stay away from that color combination because I just don't really like it. So that's it for top 3 and bottom 3 out of those 12 quads. Here's what I want to keep from last year. I want to keep listening to my gut as far as how I felt from last month's quad and just incorporate learnings as I go into the next quad of the month. I want to make sure as well that the quad of the month matches my mood and my desire for color story for the next month, regardless of if it's a repeat color story from the previous month, because I need to feel good. Emotions are huge on quad of the month. I need to feel good about the colors. If I am, for whatever reason, not in the mood to stretch myself with the quad of the month in a given month, because maybe I'm stretching myself with other palettes or something else is going on, or I'm having a tough time personally, I need to listen to that and pick a quad that is different from the previous quads, but that matches where I'm at that time. And I feel like I bucked it a few times last year, and I don't want to repeat that in 2020. This was one example of that. So we talked a little bit about the color story for a couple of quads. This one being just about my biggest mistake right there. I really needed to listen to the need for autumn vibes, and I didn't. And I think it's okay to do a swatch and know that there are some colors that maybe I want to try, but maybe not in quad of the month. I'm not sure. Although, I mean, it's a good learning lesson. I really found out that I really dislike Snatched from the Morphe 39A. Yeah, the thing is, hindsight's 2020. So let's just go with what I can say for the next year based on what I could be knowing at the time. Listen to my gut. Listen to what I feel ready to do in the next month. Do I have the mental capacity, emotional capacity to deal with colors that I need to wear in that given month and report back? What else do I have on my plate, personally, professionally, emotionally, all that stuff? And that even if I'm being a little repetitive with a few things, assuming it's no more than 2 or 3 months in a row, I need to give myself permission maybe to dabble in similar color story, maybe some different textures, maybe from different brands. There are many different ways to switch it up without feeling like I need every single color to be a stretch, or that I need to, because I did a warm quad one month, that I need to do a cool quad the next month. I need to give myself a little bit more freedom, and I think that you can stretch yourself with the way you apply the eyeshadows just as much as you can with the eyeshadow selection. And I think I need to explore that a little bit more. So that is it for my review of the 12 quads for the year of 2019. Let me know what you think of what I thought of the quads. What were your favorite quads? I would be very curious to hear. And if you have any suggestions for me as we get into Quad of the Month for 2020, you've had a chance to see the Quad of the Month series if you've been following along. And I would be very curious to hear your feedback on what you think of the series, what I could do to change, improve, what should I keep, and we can evolve this series together. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it every single time. And I do look forward to seeing you in the next video. But for now, take care.